Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today's video is how to avoid an accident. So let me tell you a story. I was driving down the main road the other day, about 30 minutes from where I live, so a road that I've driven many times. And I was driving straight on the main road, and all of a sudden I see a car coming from the side street, and they run the stop sign. So they basically came out into the road. I could see, because I was looking ahead, that the car wasn't going to stop for the stop sign. I don't know if they missed it, the person, or they just didn't notice it, or for whatever reason. I'm sure it happened by accident. So I immediately began stepping on the brakes, slamming on the brakes. And the car actually went into the intersection. And at first I thought I could probably, I was already slamming on the brakes. Worst case scenario, I steer around it because they were only a little bit into the intersection. The person was looking at me the whole time. I assume they saw me. I think maybe they panicked and either took their foot off the brakes. Maybe they were kind of making a left turn. I'm going on the main road this way, and they're coming out like this, and they're actually going to make a left turn in front of me. So I assume they didn't see me, because why would they run the stop sign and do that? So the problem is, I think once they ran the stop sign and noticed me coming right at them, I don't know if they hit the gas instead of the brake, or maybe they just panicked and they came out to the intersection more. So now they're blocking almost the whole road with their big car. And yeah, I was already had threshold braking. I was already, braking it all the way I could. First I thought I would be at a stop or go around them. And now I noticed that they're basically blocking the whole road in front of me. There's a little section of road that's open that I'll have to go to because I'm not going to be at a stop in time. They came out right out in front of me, made it worse by actually turning left in front of me, so it didn't give me an escape route. And luckily there was a little patch of pavement there. We were the only two people at the road, luckily, because there certainly could have been other people. And slamming on the brakes, I was able to maneuver. It kind of reminded me of my autocross days, where you had to kind of stop in a box. Sometime at technical autocross, there'll be a box you have to stop in. You'd be penalized if you went over it. And basically I was able to swerve around their car, still while slamming on the brakes, and get to the open area and avoid the accident. My heart was pounding afterwards. I'm sure it was an accident that they ran the stop sign. I don't know if they were distracted or what, or maybe just thought nobody else was on the road, so they didn't need to stop. I went back to the that side road later, and there's clearly a stop sign and mark, so I don't know what they were thinking. But this is not about, you're going to say, well, if I crashed into them, it would be their fault, and that's right. But I want to avoid the accident in the first place. I really don't care whose fault it is. Stuff's going to happen. People will run red lights, run stop signs, whether they're distracted or just for whatever reason. I'm sure it was a total accident. So this video isn't about the person that ran the stoplight. It's what you can do to avoid an accident. So basically, every technique I knew about defensive driving I had to utilize here, otherwise I would have gotten into this accident. So first thing that's more important is obviously, and share this video with your friends and loved ones, and hopefully we can keep people from getting into an accident. And it's really windy here, and hopefully we can help people out. So obviously wear your seatbelt. That's a no-brainer, right? Because even if first of all, you'd be seriously injured if you crashed into the car that jumped out in front of me, you didn't have your seatbelt on. And also, if you have to do an evasive maneuver, you're not going to be able to hold yourself in the car if you did that. Most important thing, Mario Andretti couldn't have avoided this accident if he didn't have good brakes and tires. So the first thing you need to do is check your tires. Make sure you don't have bald tires. Make sure they're not old, like 10-year-old tires, which won't have the grip. Old tires or bald tires will stop your braking distance considerably. Summer tires will stop a lot quicker than all seasons. So if you have all seasons on your car, it's going to take a lot longer to stop than if you had summer tires. Same thing for the winter, it's the opposite. Also brakes, don't cheap out on brakes or tires. If you had your brake pads were worn down, or you needed to change your brake fluid, all those are going to add to your stopping distance, and then I would have been into this accident. So first of all, you have to have good equipment. So if you were, a soccer player, American football player, baseball, hockey, they're going to have good shoes, right? Think of tires, shoes for your sport. In this case, the sport is driving. So you want to have good tires with plenty of tread on them. Newer tires, because old tires would contribute to your braking distance considerably. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, we have good equipment for driving. If I was on my cell phone or texting, I would have crashed into this other car. And a lot of times I see people in the summer with just one hand on the wheel. Maybe they have the other hand out the window because it's a nice day. If I only had one hand on the wheel, I would have crashed because I wouldn't have been able to stop in time. Because I had to do an evasive maneuver, I needed both hands on the wheel. Another thing I noticed for stick shift cars like mine, and I wasn't in this car by the way, but I'm not going to say the car where it was because I don't want people, maybe they saw the person who run the stop sign. I'm not trying to go after that person. We missed each other, no harm, no foul. I'm trying to save you and your loved ones from getting into an accident. So with a stick shift car, you actually don't have your hand on the stick shift. I see a lot of people driving with one hand, say at 12 o'clock position, and the other hand is on the stick shift. And I needed both cars to make this evasive maneuver. If I had to lift my hand from the stick shift and get it on the wheel, I probably would have crashed into them as well. Also, what you can do to avoid an accident is look ahead. I saw, because I was looking way down the road, I saw this side road that person wasn't going to stop. I've driven that road many times, and I know anybody that comes there would go for a stop, and this person didn't. So I could tell immediately, and that probably saved me as well, to start slamming on the brakes that they're not going to make that stop sign. So let me talk about a couple techniques that I used. You can Google these techniques and learn them. One is threshold braking. Threshold braking is really a racing term, and I think another word for it is also called limit braking. You put your pedal to the floor to stop as fast as you can. So even if you have to swerve, you want to get your pedal down to the ground and slow the car down as much as possible. Next technique is called stomp and steer. If you have ABS brakes, you want to put your pedal to the floor on the brake pedal, so you have maximum braking force, which is threshold braking. You'll hear the pulsing, but that means your brakes are working. That means the ABS is working, so your brakes don't lock up, so you can stop quicker. Before ABS brakes, you can lock up the tire. Just watch a Formula One race. Sometimes if there's no ABS on those cars, the driver could threshold brake and you'll see his tire flat spot. That's not going to happen to you with ABS brakes. If your car has ABS brakes, like pretty much I think all new cars have ABS brakes, you could put the pedal to the floor. Now you'll hear the pulsing, but you can steer. So years ago, maybe our parents' generations, they had cars without ABS brakes, so they always were taught to brake in a straight line. You wouldn't be able to steer because obviously you'd be at maximum braking force. With ABS brakes, you can steer around the obstacle. So I did threshold braking, and then what I did was I steered at the same time because ABS allowed me to do that. So in the beginning I thought I would stop in time because they were just out a little bit, and then when they were blocking the whole road I realized I wasn't going to stop in time and I had to make an evasive maneuver. Now all this stuff probably happened in 2 seconds, but you know how your brain slows everything down, so that's why it seemed like it was 20 minutes, but it was probably only 2 seconds. Another thing you could do if you have a stick shift car, you have to put what's called both feet in. So that means not only you're putting your foot to the floor for the brake, but you're putting the clutch down too. So what you don't want to do is come to a stop or almost a stop from the threshold braking, and now your car stalls because you didn't have the clutch in. So basically I had to do 3 things at once, and that's why it was important that I had both hands and weren't distracted. I had to use my right foot to put the brake all the way down, my left foot to put the clutch all the way down, and then I need 2 hands to maneuver around this accident. So now how do you practice those techniques? Well, I've done a lot of track days, a lot of autocross, so threshold braking you do all the time. So what you could do if you're a car enthusiast, take your car to the track or do an autocross. You'll learn to, especially in autocross, you'll learn to control your car at higher speeds. At lower speeds in a parking lot, you'll learn understeer, oversteer. You'll actually get to the limit of your car where your car will oversteer, and you'll be able to use the techniques I said, threshold brake, stop in a box. Track day is good as well. I think if you do autocross first, it'll be easier to do track days. And if you've done neither, and say you're not a car enthusiast and you pass this video on to your grandparents or your friends or people that are younger than you, anybody can take a defensive driving course. And most of these courses, you can use their cars, you can even use your own car. And the first thing they teach you in any racing school or defensive driving is threshold braking. So you'll go up to a certain safe speed in a parking lot, and they'll teach you how to slam on the brakes so you're not afraid of it. I've done it 100 times from doing 100 track days or whatever, so I do it all the time. You say I'm driving home at dusk, there's a lot of deer where I live, a deer runs out I've saved myself many times by doing threshold braking because they'll jump out from under you. So these are techniques that you can certainly learn. It's a great technique to have in your arsenal. Once you know how to threshold brake, you should be able to do it. Once you practice stopping and steering, you should be able to do it. So definitely take a defensive driving course or some kind of track day to learn how to do that so you can be safe as well. Make sure to subscribe to this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up. I'll make more of these with driving techniques. Share this with your friends. Maybe we can save somebody from getting into an accident. And of course, leave a positive comment below, or leave your experiences below on what happened, how you've avoided accidents, and we can share them together and learn from it. Okay, so share this to all your friends and relatives. Make sure they know these techniques. I needed all those techniques to save me. If I had bald tires, accident. If I had bad brakes, accident. If I had only one hand on the wheel, accident. If I was on the phone, accident. If I was texting, accident. If I didn't know how to threshold brake and both feet in, accident. So learn this stuff if you can, and it'll help you. You'll have that skill for the rest of your life. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.